Have you ever reached a point in your career where people admired you from outside, but inside you felt like an imposter? You had the designation, you had the salary, you had the authority, you had people reporting to you, but somewhere deep within, a disturbing question always kept appearing. Is this really who I am? Many mid career professionals spend years building an impressive professional identity. They become the dependable manager, the successful entrepreneur, the knowledgeable consultant, the powerful administrator, the problem solver whom everyone approaches and appreciates. But gradually, a dangerous gap develops, the gap between who they appear to be and who they truly are. And when that gap becomes too wide, success begins to feel like a performance and it feels hollow. Today, I want to share a powerful lesson from R.K. Narayan's famous novel, that is The Guide. It is the story of a man who begins as an ordinary railway guide, becomes a successful manager, falls because of his choices, and later finds himself being treated as a spiritual guide. His journey raises a profound question for every mid-career professional. Are you genuinely leading your career, or are you merely playing a role that others expect from you? Stay with me until the end because I will share a 6-step KYM framework that can help you move from career performance to authentic leadership, from external recognition to inner fulfillment, and from confusion to clarity. Namaskar, I am Janardhan, your fulfilled career growth coach. Through my Khema Yoga method, or KYM in short, I help mid-career professionals achieve consistent career growth with fulfillment. Where Khema means preserving and protecting your primary inner resources, and Yoga means adding the necessary skills or capabilities for career growth. The story of the guide beautifully shows what happens when a person builds an impressive external identity without first strengthening the inner foundation. Let us delve into the story. Raju, the railway guide. Raju begins his journey near a railway station in the fictional town of Malgudi. He is intelligent, observant, energetic, and good with people. He understands what travelers want. He also would know how to speak confidently. He knows how to make ordinary place sound interesting. Gradually, people begin calling him Railway Raju. He becomes a popular guide. At first, Raju is simply helping people find their ways. But slowly, something changed. He learns that confidence can create authority. He discovers that people often believe a person who speaks convincingly, even when Raju does not know everything, he speaks as though he does. He becomes skilled at reading people's mind and telling them what they want to hear. Does this sound familiar? In many organizations, people are not always rewarded for depth. Sometimes they are rewarded for appearance. A confident presentation, a polished report, the right networking, the right impression before senior leaders, the ability to sound certain even when the person is not fully prepared or fully knowledgeable. These capabilities are useful, but without integrity and self awareness, they can become dangerous and could be trapped. Raju's first success is built partly on ability and partly on performance. The world begins to recognize the image of Raju, and gradually Raju becomes attached to that image. Now, the arrival of Ruji and Marco, the second phase. One day, Raju meets a couple. The husband is a serious scholar who is deeply interested in ancient art, caves, and historical research, whereas his wife, Rosie, is passionate about dance. Rosie has talent, she has energy, she has a dream, but her husband does not truly appreciate her artistic gift. Raju sees her potential, he encourages her, he gives her attention, he helps her believe that her talent deserves expression. This is an important moment. Sometimes a person enters our life and sees abilities that others have ignored. A good mentor does this, a good leader also does this, a good coach also does that. Raju genuinely recognizes Roger's talent, but his intention do not remain completely pure. Admiration becomes attachment, support becomes control, guidance becomes personal ambition. Raju begins managing Roji's dancing career. Under his management, she becomes increasingly successful. Her fame grows, the money also grows with that, the social status also grows. Raju now moves from being a railway guide to becoming the manager of a celebrated performance. He has influence, he has access, he has recognition now, he has wealth. From outside, this appears to be tremendous career growth. But what about inside? But inside, something has started deteriorating. His ego is becoming stronger. His integrity is becoming weaker. His relationships are becoming complicated. His choices are becoming increasingly driven by fear, attachment, and image. This is where the story becomes highly relevant to mid career professionals. Career growth is not always equal to personal growth. A person can rise in designation and decline in character at the same time. A person can gain authority and lose peace. A person can build a successful brand and lose connection with the real truth. Then the success becomes the real trap. Now let us get again back to the story. As Rose's character progresses, Raju becomes consumed by the life they have created. He enjoys being known as the person behind the success. He controls appointment, he controls access, he controls her decisions. He becomes protective of his position and lifestyle. The guide has now become a gatekeeper. This happens in professional life too. At the beginning of our career, we work to create values. Later, we may start working to protect our position. We stop asking the question, how can I contribute? We begin asking, how can I remain important? We stop developing people because we fear they may outgrow us. We hide information because information gives us power. We resist change because change threatens our authority. We become attached to the chair, the position, attached to the designation, attached to our need, attached to being praised. And then a strange thing happens. The career that was supposed to give us freedom becomes a prison, a entrapment. Raju's success gradually traps him. To protect his image and control, he makes a serious ethical mistake. That mistakes lead him to legal consequences and he goes to jail. His public identity collapses. The man who once guided travelers and managed a successful artist now loses everything. His reputation, his comfort, his influence, his relationship, his freedom. The fall and the new identity is the next phase. After his punishment ends, Raju finds himself alone. He comes from the jail. He arrives near a village and begins staying in an abandoned temple. A villager sees him sitting there and assumes that Raju is a holy man. Raju doesn't initially declare himself to be a saint, but he also doesn't strongly rejected the assumption. People begin approaching him. They ask for guidance. They bring their problems. They seek blessings. They believe he possesses some kind of spiritual power or spiritual wisdom. Once again, Raju becomes the guide, but this time not a railway guide, but a manager, a spiritual guide. Think about the irony. Raju has spent much of his life becoming whatever others believed him to be. Travelers saw a knowledgeable guide, he becomes one. Rosie needed encouragement and management, he becomes her manager. Society saw an influential man, he enjoyed that role. Villagers saw a holy person in him, he began behaving like one. This is the central question of the story. Who is Raju beneath all these roles? And this is also the central question of mid career life. Who are you beneath your designation? Who are you when your visiting card is removed? Who are you when nobody reports to you? Who are you when the office car, cabin, and authority are withdrawn, gone? Who are you when you are no longer introduced by your job title? Mid career dissatisfaction often begins when the outer identity has grown but the inner identity remains unexplored. Then this is the crisis of the village. The village faces a several crises. There is no rain, the crops suffer, the people become anxious. They look toward Raju for hope. Through a misunderstanding, the villagers come to believe that Raju will undertake a fast for rain and it will be answered. Raju is now trapped inside the identity others have created for him, a spiritual guide. At first, he is frightened. He knows his own history. He knows that he is not the great spiritual saint they imagine to be. He knows the gap between his public image and private truth. But something begins to shift. For perhaps the first time in his life, Raju faces a decision that is not entirely about personal gain. He can run away, he can expose the deception, he can continue pretending, or he can accept responsibility. The man who once used people's beliefs for his benefit now begins acting for the sake of others. His action becomes the sincere one. Whether or not he began as a genuine saint, his willingness to accept suffering for the villagers creates a form of transformation. The role begins to reshape his personal life. The false guide begins moving towards genuine selflessness. Raju's story, therefore, is not merely about deception, it is also about the possibility of redemption. It reminds us that a person is not permanently defined by past mistakes. Awareness can begin at any stage. Responsibility can begin at any stage. Transformation can begin also at any stage. Even in mid career, even after failure, even after loss, even after a damaged reputation. This is the mid career problem when career success becomes identity confusion. Let us now understand the deeper problem. Many professionals begin their careers with natural enthusiasm. They want to learn, they want to contribute, they want to prove themselves. But over the years, the role begins to replace the person. I am a general manager, I am a doctor, I am a professor, I am an entrepreneur, I am a senior government officer, I am a consultant. These are the professional roles. They are important, but they are not your complete identity. The danger begins when you believe your self-worth becomes dependent upon your role or position or designation. Then every transfer feels like rejection. Every missed promotion feels like humiliation. Every disagreement feels like disrespect. Every younger colleague's success feels like a threat. Every organizational change feels like an attack on your identity. This is why many accomplished professionals feel emotionally disturbed during mid-career transitions. They're not merely losing a promotion, they feel they're losing themselves. They're not merely facing restructuring, they feel they're becoming irrelevant. They're not merely approaching retirement, they feel their significance is ending. They are feeling they're lost to the world. This is exactly where Khema becomes essential. Before adding more skills, influence, and achievement, we must protect the inner person from becoming dependent upon external labels. This is now the part three, that is my six step KYM solution. Step number one, separate yourself from your role. That is the awareness. The first step is always the awareness. Stay to yourself. Believe I perform a role, but I am not that role. Your designation is temporary, your organization is temporary, your authority is also temporary, your professional identity will change many times in the life, but your values, your consciousness, and inner character travel with you wherever you go. Ask yourself three questions. Who am I without my designation? What values define me? What contribution do I want people to remember? This reflection is the part of schema of the structure because it protects the mind from identity dependence. When the inner identity is strong, professional change becomes very much manageable. You can lose a position without losing your identity or dignity. You can face rejection without losing your confidence. You can retire from a job without retiring from your purpose. The step number two, audit the gap between image and reality, that is clarity. Raju's difficulty grew because the distance between his image and reality kept increasing. The same thing can happen in professional life. You may be known as a calm leader, but inside carry a constant anxiety. You may speak about work life balance, but you are neglecting your health and family. You may encourage learning, but have not upgraded your own skills for years. You may speak about teamwork, but secretly you are competing with your team members. You may project confidence, but you fear being exposed as inadequate. Do not condemn yourself, simply observe. Create two columns. Write. In the first column, you write how people see me. In the second column, write what I know about myself. Then identify the gap. The awareness without judgment creates clarity. Clarity creates the possibility of correction. This is the Khema part of the KYM structure, protecting the mind through truth. Now, the step number three, rebuild integrity through small actions, that is responsibility. Integrity does not mean being perfect. Integrity means reducing the distance between what you believe, what you say, and what you do. Start with small actions. Keep one promise you have been postponing. Have one honest conversation. Admit one mistake without giving excuses. Stop taking credit for another person's work. Give feedback without manipulation. Refuse one opportunity that conflicts with your values. Correct one unhealthy habit. A career is rarely destroyed by one dramatic event alone. Usually, it weakens through a series of small compromises. In the same way, character is rebuilt through a series of small, truthful actions. Do not wait for a crisis to become authentic. Practice authenticity daily. Step number four, protect your primary resources, that is, Kshama. Why do intelligent professionals make poor decisions? Often because Their inner resources are exhausted. A tired body reduces judgment. A disturbed mind magnifies fear. Unprocessed emotions create impulsive behaviors. Loss of spiritual connection creates emptiness. This is why Kshema comes before yoga. Protect your body through sleep, movement, healthy food, breathing practices. Protect your mind through silence, reflection, reading, and limiting unnecessary information. Protect your emotions through gratitude, forgiveness, and meaningful relationships. Protect your spirit through prayer, meditation, contemplation, or service. When your inner resources are strong, you are less likely to chase validation from outside. You are less likely to manipulate others. You are less likely to become addicted to recognition. A peaceful mind makes ethical leadership easier. Now comes step number 5. Add competence without creating ego. That is yoga part of KYM framework. After strengthening the foundation, add the necessary career skills. Improve your communication, develop strategic thinking, learn new technology, strengthen your leadership presence, build networks, understand finance, develop negotiation skills, learn how to influence decision. These are all forms of yoga because yoga means addition, adding the necessary skills. But remember, skills are instruments, they are not your identity. Communication without integrity becomes manipulation, influence without responsibility becomes control, networking without authenticity becomes transaction, ambition without balance becomes burnout, leadership without humility becomes your ego. Therefore, art skills but remain anchored in service. The purpose of becoming powerful is not to dominate others, it is to create greater values. Now comes the step number 6, move from recognition to contribution. That leads to fulfillment. Raju's transformation begins when his action is no longer centered only on personal benefit. This is also the final transition of mature leadership. In the early career, we ask, what can I achieve? In mid career, we should begin asking, what can I contribute? How many people have grown because of my leadership? How many youngers have you ever reached a point in your career where people admired you from outside, but inside you felt like an imposter? You had the designation, you had the salary, you had the authority, you had people reporting to you, but somewhere deep within, a disturbing question kept appearing. Let me tell my own mid career lesson, my own mid career issues. I understand this lesson personally during my own mid career journey. I once believed that hard work and good performance alone would ensure career progress. But when I faced stagnation, disappointment, my belief was shaken. That period forced me to look inward. I realized that I had focused greatly on the external world or performance, responsibilities, and result, but I had not given equal attention to my inner world. I began strengthening my body, mind, and spiritual energy. I entered deeper practices of yoga, pranayam, meditation, and self reflection. I also upgraded my professional and leadership capabilities. That combination changed my journey. It taught me that fulfillment does not come from abandoning ambition, it comes from aligning ambition with inner stability, purpose, and service. This is the essence of my Khema Yoga method. And here is my final message. Let us remember the 6 lessons from the guide. First, separate yourself from your role. Second, identify the gap between the image and reality. Third, rebuild integrity through small actions. Fourth, protect your body, mind, and spiritual energy. Fifth, add career skills without killing the ego. Sixth, shift your focus from recognition to contribution. Raju's story teaches us that a person can lose his way while guiding others, but it also teaches us that transformation is always possible. You may have made mistakes, you may have chased the wrong success, you may have neglected your health, you may have compromised with your values, you may feel trapped inside a professional identity, but your story is not over. Mid career is not the end of growth, it can be the beginning of your most authentic chapter. Do not become a prisoner of the role you have created, become the conscious author of the person you want to be or you are becoming. Here my call to you for action. Take a notebook today and answer this question. Am I building a career that looks successful or a life that feels meaningful? Write your answer honestly. And in the comments below, share one word that describes what you need most at this stage of your career. Is it clarity? Is it courage? Is it consistency? Is it balance? Is it purpose or fulfillment? And if you are a mid career professional who feels stagnant, just it. unrecognized or disconnected from your purpose, I invite you to join my group to learn more, to grow consistently in your career with fulfillment in your life. The link to join is given in the bio or in the description. Thank you for listening it to the end.